Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, right off the bat, what is Lord of Shadow 2 all about?
It's all about Dracula. It's always been about Dracula. The whole series is focused on Dracula. So what we're trying to do is tell Dracula's story, how he became Dracula, and how his story ends. So it's about where he's going to as a character, and it's about giving the player a satisfying conclusion to the Lords of Shadow series.
All right, like a classical fall of the hero kind of story?
Well, we like to surprise people, so I think that there are a lot of surprises in the game that will be unexpected for consumers, and I think that's really important. We wanted to present a Dracula that was modern, that had an edge. In the past, in Castlevania games, Dracula's always been portrayed as sort of Bela Lugosi type character.
Yes.
And very kind of straight. And we wanted to show a character that had emotions, that had anger, that had rage, but also had love, that had pity, that had regret, and that did horrible things too. And if you play the preview, you'll see. I don't know how far you've got in the preview.
Right now, I was kind of recovering. Just got my youth back, if you can say so.
So you killed the family.
Yes.
How did How did you make that feel? How did that make you feel?
Well, it's always difficult to say I liked it, but
yeah.
I like the fact that it was an ego perspective.
Yeah.
And I wanted to wait if there's another opportunity, but then I saw the life bar ticking down.
That's
so
right.
I said,
you've got to.
So I said, all right.
Yeah. But it makes you feel uncomfortable,
Yeah,
and I think
definitely.
it also reminds you that you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
I think that's important because you've just played the game. You feel very powerful. You've defeated the paladin. And you think, yeah, I'm a badass, and you probably feel a bit proud of yourself. But then we just say to you, don't forget you're the bad guy, and we do that a lot in the game. There's many areas in the game where we do that. We just give you a little gentle nudge just to remind you that you're playing the Dracula, Lord of Darkness.
Okay. So unlike his appearance, he's not a pale character. He is, he got something to him. I like that. After the first Lord of Shadow, what was the feedback from die-hard Castlevania fans?
Feedback's been really good. I mean, the game went on to become the most popular Castlevania of all time. I mean, It was something that really took us by surprise. Because during the development of the first game, we were like, is this the right thing to do? Are we, maybe going too far? And, we asked ourselves questions. So I think a certain amount of fear, stopped us from doing certain things that we perhaps would have done if we didn't have that fear.
Okay.
And I think with the success of the first game, it took away a lot of that fear. So we thought, okay, let's push this. Let's go as far as we want to go. Let's be true to our creative vision. Let's be true to what we want to do with the character, what we want to do with the series. And so I think there's a lot more risk taking in this game. I think you're going to see a lot of things in this game that you haven't seen in a Castlevania game before, and I think that's important. And I think it really sets out our stall as a development team that this is our vision of Castlevania.
Okay, cool. How's about next gen adaptation for Castlevania? Were you thinking about that?
We did think about it. We did talk about it seriously, but I think a couple of reasons why we've decided not to do it. The first is because it would have meant taking a few steps backwards in terms of development in order to port it to the next gen consoles. And it would have been just a straight port. And I think I think if you're going to bring something to PS4 and Xbox One, it needs to have something extra, something different. So we decided against it for that reason, but also for the reason that Lords of Shadow 1 was already on, these formats. So we thought it's fitting that the saga itself was on these formats, and so we decided not to do PS4 and Xbox One. The PC version, I guess, could be considered a next gen version.
All right.
So if you look at the PC version, there are things in that you just won't get on the Xbox or the PS3.
Is there already an ambition to have a sequel on the next gen?
We don't want to do any more games. I mean, we've told our story of Dracula, we've told the Lords of Shadow saga, and we really want to move on to something else or something new. So we'll pass the torch on to whoever's next, and whether they will continue Lords of Shadow or whether they will, go back to the old style of Castlevania or do something themselves, I don't know. That's up to somebody else.
Okay.
As far as we're concerned, we're done.
I was just playing the preview. Is it right at the beginning of the game?
Yes.
Well, I noticed that there was a lot of video storytelling. almost like another game published by Konami. Not as
yes, I know what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah, there is heavy story exposition. That's all in game engine, by the way. It's not video.
Yeah.
We are. We have to let people know where we're at in terms of the story, especially those who haven't played Lords of Shadow 1 and who haven't played Mirror of Fate. So I guess that is probably the longest cutscene in the entire game.
Okay.
The rest of the game is told in as it was in Lords of Shadow, the previous Lords of Shadow game, so it's very consistent with that. So we're not going the Metal Gear route, so don't worry.
Hack and slay games in 3D that came out after a certain game called God of War
yes.
always have this difficulty to be compared. Are you annoyed of this comparison?
I am. I'll tell you why. At first I wasn't, but I am now because I think we have a lot of things that are not consistent with God of War. Our game has a lot more going for it. It has a lot more aspects to it than just hack and slash. We have a very deep adventure game. We have a game that involves a lot of exploration, a lot of backtracking. We have a lot of puzzles. We have a lot of challenges, and I think for a 20-hour game, it needs to have that variety. It needs to have that density of things for players to do. God of War is all about spectacle. It's 5 or 6 hours of, lots and lots of combat, but a very simple combat system. Our combat system is very sophisticated. It has a lot more items for the player to use and relics and things like that. And we have the mastery system, which gives it a lot more depth, I think. So our game, I think, is more of an adventure game than a hack and slash. The hack and slash is really a component of the overall game. It's not 100% a hack and slash game.
Okay.
I would say. So I think comparisons. You're going to ask me what we should compare it to. I think comparisons to Zelda or to Darksiders or to those kinds of games is more comparable to what we've delivered in number 2.
Did you put a focus on character development as in terms of gameplay? So
we wanted to give players more meat, if you like, to the way that they want to play. You have your Void Sword, you have your Chaos Claws, you have your Shadow Whip, which all have their own abilities. And, but it's up to you how which abilities you buy. Whether you want to go for playing a more defensive type of character with the Void Sword, or whether you want to be more aggressive with the Chaos Claws. And the mastery system is something that you need to use in the game. It basically makes you use your abilities, because your weapons are very weak when you get your weapons back. You play at the beginning of the game with all your weapons at full power and you're really badass. But when you get your weapons back, they're very, very weak. And in order for those weapons to become more powerful, you have to use the combos and fill those combos by using them in order to level up your weapon. So if you don't use your combos, if you don't power up, you're going to have very weak weapons and you're going to die a lot. So we kind of force the player to use the abilities and to play well. The focus system itself is designed in such a way that if you don't play well, if you don't hit enemies without being hit, you are not able to even use your weapons. So in many ways, it's saying to the player, you must think about what you're doing, you must play well, you must use the abilities in order to get all of your other powers and enjoy the game to its fullest.
Does it bring in a danger to get into a dead end if you're not a well player and suddenly you're too weak for the game?
It does, yes, and deliberately so, because I think one of the weakest things about hack and slash is, or that component of gameplay, is that players tend to just hammer the square button over and over and over and play the whole game that way. Or they'll say, well, I like these 3 combos and I'm going to play through the whole game with these 3 combos, and you can. And for me, that's a weakness. For me, hack and slash should be like Street Fighter. It should be a game where you go up against enemies and you have to think about what you've got to do, and you have to look at your arsenal of moves and say, okay, for this guy, I'm going to use this move, I'm going to use this weapon, I'm going to defeat him this way. He's got a shield, I need to break his shield. I need magic, but I don't have any magic. What do I do? Okay, so I need to use my Shadow Whip, but every time I hit him, it just bounces off, so what do? I've got Somersault. I'm going to Somersault over him, jump over him, hit him a few times, build up, focus. Now I can use my Chaos Claws. I can break the shield, bang, bang, bang.
Okay.
Now he's mine. Now I can use my Void Sword, get some health back. It's really thinking about combat in a more strategic, one-on-one way. That's what we try to achieve with the combat system in this game. So yeah, it is more designed for players who are... let's say, good at what they do. You have to be good to play this game. You can't just be a casual player and come in this game and enjoy it. It's not that kind of game.
Ah, okay, I see. So is there is there's the opportunity to kind of grind? So go back into all the areas and
Yes. Actually, that is one reason that you might want to go back and explore. Is to just go back and build yourself up so that you can come against the boss and have the relevant powers that you need. Grinding is okay. Once in a blue moon, if you need to, if you get to an enemy and you think, shit, how do I get past this guy? I'm not powerful enough. I'm going to go back. I'm going to make myself a little bit more powerful, then go back to him and do it. But you need another reason to explore. So, we give the player a lot of other reasons, a lot of items that they can find, secrets that they can find. And that's important. And when you go back, you don't want to keep seeing the same enemies respawning. You want to have different types of enemy respawning. You want to have a variety of different types of enemies and not just the same one. And occasionally you want to go back and you want to see a different cutscene, or you want to see a different enemy or a different boss, that kind of thing. So we've tried to give the player variety, a reason to go back and backtrack. Because backtracking is something we wanted to give this game that we didn't have in the last game.
Yeah, alright. Okay, thank you.
Cool, that was easy. Excellent.
Easy exam.
Yes.
Alright, looking forward to play the whole game.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Please try the demo. It's about 4 hours of gameplay there.
Yeah, I'll try to get through it.